Here's my observation. I think there are a lot of people in gaming today that want to see Xbox leave the market. Now, I'm a PC gamer. If Xbox leaves the market in this particular time frame, it's not going to bother me. Do you know why? Because I play on the platform that gets the most number of games. It's not even funny. Now, it sounds like, being a braggart or, you're trying to say something. No, 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 no. It just is what it is. I'm here to play games, right? So I find myself on a platform where there are a number of games at the end of the day. However, Xbox is not going anywhere. In fact, when it seemed like they were going to take their things and run away, they went ahead and instead spent $80 billion. It's kind of like, when you make your way to the seashores for a battle and then burn your boats. And I think this has irked a lot of people as well, because when they were about to burn those boats and buy Activision Blizzard King and Bethesda, a lot of people said that this was going to be consolidation and a monopoly. So they ended up closing on the deal, but then it went back to Xbox is dead and Xbox is going to die and they need to go out of business. But here's the one thing a lot of people are missing. Xbox is hanging on for dear life, and they have the money and the backing to do so from Microsoft. This is even much more paramount to the issue. So what's going on here is they're doing everything to make it work. Regardless of what the popular thought in the market is, Xbox is staying alive and is healthy doing it. In fact, it not only is, hanging on for dear life or whatever, it's actually found kind of a little, leg and a second leg and is now climbing up and is now making its way. And this, the last year so far in this particular year, the way they revealed the number of games and the way they seem confident going in with this Xbox showcase, it appears that they've probably found themselves in a place where they've climbed on this ledge and they're sitting now in a chair. Somebody threw a beach chair at them and they're sitting. Actually, they ordered a beach chair to be delivered to them on this cliff where they were hanging from because they got the money to do so. So it came in by, express delivery on a chopper. So what the people usually will say here is the console sales are, down and so Xbox is going to die. But what we've seen is the entirety of Xbox's whole console business is resting on the fact that they leveraged their consoles from the past generation and still brought it into this generation quietly. They ensured that they kept those gamers on the previous console in a way where they knew that they were part of the Xbox ecosystem, and at their own convenience, they could move without any issues into it. It was a very interesting set of paradigms to go ahead and see that Xbox is boasting millions of users. In fact, now about 500 plus monthly active users, where when you kind of think about it, that's a lot of users to kind of just leave, unchecked. If you're PlayStation, and you're thinking to yourself, well, I want to push these guys out of business. And then they find a way to not only create a pipeline for a lot of active users, but then buy some pipelines for active users, such as Bethesda and all of their, games, including their live service games like Fallout, Elder Scrolls Online, and so on and so forth. Then buy an Activision where they now take hold of all of their Call of Duty games, their Diablo games, and all of these stuff, and then World of Warcraft and such. And then after everything is all said and done, they go over to PlayStation and they start to also gather monthly active users there as well with games like Forza. This company has nowhere else to go. When they look back and they look at the seas, they look and realize, oh, wow, we have no ship. So we're going to stay here and we're going to fight it out. This is the Xbox that when you look at the way PlayStation and, the leaks showed up in terms of Activision, Blizzard King, and all that was gotten from Insomniac. This is a PlayStation that recognizes Xbox and what it is that they're doing. They've taken the thing that kind of affected them the most in the last generation, or the things that affected them the most in last generation, such as not having enough console sales and not having a lot of games that people wanted to play, and not having a value proposition that was there for them. By the way, their console was more expensive. So that's where they actually botched it. They failed heavily because their console was not something that, people wanted to buy because it was more expensive, right? So what did they do? They made a less expensive console this gen. I mean, they literally took everything and they were turning it all around. So they didn't have as many games that people wanted to do. What did they do? They went and bought a bunch of games, right? They didn't have a value proposition. What did they do? They put up Game Pass. They've actually crossed off those three things, or from my calculations, 3 of the things that they found out were the biggest complaints that they had last gen. Now, what does this look like in the eyes of gamers? They're going to be gamers who actually see this and it starts to resonate with them. We're already seeing anecdotes. We've seen the subreddit thread, the one that I keep showing you guys all the time, that people don't like seeing. You know why? It burns eyes to see that there are people on the PlayStation Plus subreddit talking about how good Game Pass is. There are people in the subreddit talking about how they've gone ahead to buy themselves an Xbox console so that they could actually get into this ecosystem. Like this person. Metaphor with Fantasio landing on Game Pass on May 29th is hard though. I just wish we get day one releases as well. I know this ain't happening though, said the person from the PlayStation side. This person said they also have Microsoft rewards, who basically use points earned through daily searches and simply playing games. Basically, they pay for Game Pass with the points themselves. You could say they play for free. Well, what that means is they're here. And they're likely, if they decide that they want to buy a license to a game or do anything, they will more than likely spend their monies here. Everything that was said to be a problem in their previous generation, they're pretty much crossing it off and making sense out of it for those who have stayed in their ecosystem, those who are outside of their ecosystem, and those who are thinking or not thinking of their ecosystem. This is the path for them to basically come in the next generation with a heavy play on the market. You see, I can understand people having a problem with PlayStation being a platform where people say they can play every game, right? You can play every game on PlayStation, right? Okay, let's just say for this generation and as of now, you can play every game on PlayStation. But where's the value proposition on PlayStation compared to Xbox? That's a difference. That's a difference. What are the options that you have on Xbox, who has multiple publishers under their belts, compared to PlayStation, who's one publisher? That's the difference. You may not be able to play every game on the Xbox, or basically most PlayStation games, or if not all PlayStation games except MLB The Show and some of their other partnerships that they sold the publishing rights to, like Kojima's Death Stranding and Ilphonic's Predator Hunting Grounds. But you will have to pay for every single bit of that engagement that you get on the PlayStation side, which still benefits Xbox. Or you get a better benefit where every game that launches you get on sale, you pay less for, or you can pay way less for, and you have cross entitlements and you can play your games in different methodologies that you don't have to spend any money extra for. I don't know, but I think gamers are valuing this stuff. Just from what I'm seeing, just from what we're reading, I don't think Xbox is going anywhere, guys. I don't think Microsoft in their gaming division, I don't think they're ready to go anywhere. A lot of people that are laughing and saying that they basically spent $70 billion and so and such, fail to realize that the $70 billion that they spent was based on the reality that they actually had an audience to also basically sell this amount of content to or make this content available to. Them reaching out to PlayStation has its effects, has its ramifications. We don't know what it is yet, but I think they, having invested all that money, are going to wait it out to see what it comes out to. Because I didn't invest $70 billion, right? So I'm curious to see what actually happens here. And I'm sure a lot of people are curious too. So those who are waiting for Xbox to go out of business, I'd say wait a little longer. You know, it might happen soon, or they may just basically make it out and become a force that they're probably, in my opinion, positioning themselves to be. I don't know. We'll see. Talk to me in the comment section. Thanks for watching. Peace out.